I'm recently coming out of a marriage, a 12-year marriage, and during that time, I co-signed with my husband on some student loans. What's really an ugly twist in this whole thing is he's in jail at this time. I have kind of a not as good of an income, obviously, since he's not working. I was just wondering if there's any way out of that.
I can tell you, Andrea, the only way out is going to be for you to pay the bill, or for your husband to earn enough jail dollars to pay the bill. Now, hopefully, 5 years later, he's out of jail. If he's not out of jail 5 years later, because this video was 5 years ago, then I would say the charges were pretty serious. So hopefully he's out of jail. However, unfortunately, student loans, federal and private, do not take into account one's freedom status as to whether or not you have to pay the bill. However, because your husband has thrown you a curveball, at least I'm assuming that when you married him, he wasn't living this kind of lifestyle, right? No, there's no way out of it for you.
Your life has been an adventure. What's he?
And what I would like to know is, what was he like before she got married? In other words, did she marry somebody that, oh my goodness, she just had no knowledge that he was like this? He was just a saint, a church going man, and just absolutely angel. And this just totally took her by surprise that he turned out like this? Or was he already kind of leading this lifestyle and, she was in denial, right? Just something to think about. It was 12 years.
In jail for?
Yes, nosy bodies want to know. I would like to know, what is he, or was he in jail for?
Theft.
How long will he be there?
I don't know. He has his sentencing next month, but it's
give me his name. I'll look him up.
Just been a real rough few years, and we've tried to work
so you
through
you have a divorce that's final.
Yes.
And in the divorce decree, you were told, or he was told, to pay these bills, but he can't because he's in jail, or what? What's the divorce decree say?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's pretty much there. I'm just waiting. I talked to the banks about that.
No. Stop. That wasn't what I asked you. What does your divorce decree say about who is responsible for these student loans?
I haven't received it yet. It's that new of a situation.
Okay, well, I'm going to say it's not going to matter what the divorce decree says, because the student loan people don't care. And I don't believe the student loan people have to hold by the divorce decree. It's just like the credit card companies. Okay, the divorce decree can say you're responsible for this bill and you're responsible for that bill. But if both parties' names are on the credit card bill, they'll go after either one. And either one they'll keep hammering after, and they'll keep ruining the credit and raising the interest rates of both parties until one of them pays off. And if the one that wasn't supposed to pay it off does wind up paying it off, then that innocent party has to go back to court, sue to get the money from the other person. Now, in the case of my ex and I, when he decided to divorce, unlike whatever, I know a lot of people think that's the women that leave. No, it's not always the women that leave. Okay. So when he decided to divorce, our credit cards were in our own names anyways. So there wasn't an issue. They couldn't have gone after me then anymore, for the bills in my name, than they could go after him for bills in his name. So in that regards, that was kind of a blessing. But I don't believe, to my knowledge, that the creditors even have to abide by the divorce decree. And certainly, I could be wrong, okay, but I don't think I am. And certainly with student loans, they really don't give up. Sallie Mae does not care what your divorce decree says if your name is on the bill. And unfortunately, life's hardships do not give us a ticket to not have our, to have our name removed from the bill. So unfortunately, there's not a box that we can check on a student loan that says, I'm going through rough times. Husband is in jail. We're in the process of a divorce. Please excuse my debt. Unfortunately, it just doesn't happen. There are some situations where I think it should happen. Okay. Like when someone has brain surgery or something like that, I think it should happen. But unfortunately, there's no easy way out of this.
Is the divorce final or not?
Probably not.
Not quite. Almost.
Okay.
Probably next week.
But I mean, the divorce papers that you signed said who's responsible for what debt.
Yes. Yes, he would be responsible for his student loans.
Okay,
And,
that's what I'm asking. And then do you
That was a long way to get to that answer.
have any other debts?
No, I do not.
And how much
That's
student
all
loan debt is there?
So the one that I signed on, the smallest one is about 2,700, and I'm working on that. And then the next one is about 13,000.
Okay, so there's $15,700 in student loan debt, and you
Could be a whole lot worse. I was holding my breath, going, "Oh, please, to push into the $50,000." Okay, she can work with this. She can work with this.
you have no debt other than your co-signing on these, correct?
I do not.
And how many children do you have?
We have 2.
And how old are they?
8 months and 4 years.
Oh, jeez. I'm not going to jump to conclusions, but I am. Okay. They're probably struggling a bit on this socioeconomic scale. Okay. Oh, geez. 8 months and daddy's in jail. And for who knows how long. And it's theft. At least it's theft and it's not robbery. Okay. Robbery means there's a weapon involved. If there's a weapon involved, that could be a minimum of 5 years before you even face anything else. But 8 months. So $15,000 in student loan debt. To people making good incomes, hopefully we'll find out how much she makes. Maybe I have to backpedal a little when I said this is doable. It really depends. What's doable? I mean, I filed bankrupt on $25,000. Somebody else could say, well, that's the doable amount. It wasn't when I tried to do it. It's all relative, right?
And what are you doing for a living? How much money are you making?
I bring in about $1,500 a month, which is not very much. It's about $248 I pay toward the student loan. So
No, stop. I'm not worried about student loans. I ask you what you're making. What do you
My hunches were right. Okay. Low on the socioeconomic scale, with a newborn and a 4-year-old and a baby daddy ex-husband in jail. Wow.
what are you doing for a living?
I work at a hospital right now, and I'm
doing
working,
what?
Yeah, I work as a nurse technician.
Good. How old are you?
Aide.
That's all you get as a nurse technician? $1,500 a month? Or is that $1,500 every paycheck?
Yeah. What's that?
How old are you?
I'm 32.
Okay. All right. You have been through hell, kiddo. And let's lay things out on your strategy for your life going forward. I have a
Okay. Let's pause here. And I want to be very sensitive. I like this lady. Okay. I like this young lady. So I'm going to be put on my kind and sensitive hat. Okay. But we do have to ask, how much of this husband did she know about his character before she married him and chose to have 2 kids with him? How much did she honestly know about him? And as I have said before, and I will continue to say many times, because it became a big realization for me, especially to get my way out of debt and to rethink, the possibility that debt freedom exists, or at least if you're not debt free, the idea of a life that you don't feel like you're struggling all the time. You don't feel like you're always financially struggling. But how much of this character, her ex-husband, how much did she know about his criminal potential? Did she meet him as I won't like to use the term street thug, okay, but did was she perhaps attracted to him because of his rough and, sort of street side bed manner? Or was this a choir boy that turned to the rough side, so to speak? Because we can sit, just like I could look at my past and I could say, man, Carrie, you've been through a lot, and I have been through hell and back. But how much of it was caused by me? Yes, some of it, the starting of it was caused by other people. Long forgiven, long forgiveness. Okay, long forgiven. But from that point on, okay, from the point of forgiveness on, how much of it was then caused by me? And we're not talking, things that can't be avoided. Somebody who has a medical condition that is unavoidable. Okay, we're not talking things like that. Okay, that might financially, hurt us, drain us, cause us stress, put us through a lot. We're talking about the things that we do to ourselves, the decisions that we make. How much of it is caused by us? And depending upon what this guy was like before he went to jail, before he turned this way, how much of it did she actually know about? Okay, and how much of it was in denial? Oh my goodness, I married this man, and I had no idea he was gonna go to jail for this, right? Just something to think about. And it's hard. It's hard because we don't want to look at ourselves and say, yeah, we are the cause of a lot of our problems. Okay, that's not an easy thing to do. To look at yourself in the mirror and say, guess what? 85% of the problems you have in life, financially, relationship wise, job wise, it's all caused by you, the person you're looking at in the mirror. But once you're able to say that, it becomes a lot easier to change your life. It's so long as you aren't willing to look at yourself and say that you are the one causing it. Yes, up to a certain point, someone sure as heck may have helped you get there. But at some point, you take control and you have to say that you're the one doing it to yourself. So yes, she's not in a good situation. I would not want to be in her shoes at all. Okay? But how much of this could have been avoided?
32-year-old daughter, so I'm going to be your dad for a minute here, okay?
Please do.
All right. So here's what you're going to do. You've been through hell, but that's in the rearview mirror. You have job one is to take care of you and these kids. Student loans are way down on the list of things to worry about.
And in a video earlier, Dave does list, and he and I agree on almost the entire list. Okay, he says first is food, second is housing. I disagree on that part. I say first is housing, then is food, because I don't care if we have to eat oatmeal and prunes every night. That's what we will eat. Okay, but it's that housing, food. I'll do it the Dave Ramsey way. Okay, it's your food first, your housing. All right, then of course it's your electric, your water, your heat. As he says, you're fed, you're sheltered, you've got, heat, stuff like that. And the student loans are the absolute rock bottom. But and that's true, and I agree with that. Okay. The only thing with the student loans, however, is we know that a $15,000 student loan will only grow over time. That's the scary part. And I can tell you, having gone through court in bankruptcy while I had student loans, okay, bankruptcy is not going to be able to solve the student loan problem, especially not her situation. Now, she's not really, she's in divorce proceedings. Okay. But like in my case, all the bankruptcy could do was stop the student loan payment temporarily, stop all interest temporarily until such time bankruptcy is cleared, student loan resumes again, yada, yada. But in her case with a divorce, divorce decree can say he's responsible for it, but I guarantee it to you, the student loan people are not going to care. She will have to pay the bill. And looking at the type of, man she has for her husband, or ex-husband, I wouldn't count on him to pay a damn thing. And even when she gets it paid off, because we're going to give her encouragement to, eventually that this bill will get paid off. But when it does get paid off, I wouldn't even bother trying to sue him because he's not going to have anything to offer anyways. And it probably wouldn't be worth the emotional and mental stress of trying to go after him.
I'm not worried about him at all right now. Okay. You're making $1,500 a month in Logan, Utah with 2 babies. If you feed them and keep the lights on and keep a roof over your head, you're doing a pretty good job, kiddo.
There we go. That's just what I was talking about. And I agree.
Okay.
That's job 1. Food, lights, water, shelter, living on a budget and under control. That's job 1. I'm not worried about these student loans. You can call them and tell them you're not paying them right now. Tell them to jump in the creek. Okay?
But like I said, got to be uber careful. I don't want to see a $15,000 loan turn into a $25,000 loan 10 years later, turn into a, $35,000, $40,000 loan. Okay, 15 years later. In other words, she does need to find a way to get that loan paid off while it's in the teens.
Okay.
Because they may take your tax return money at some point later in the future, but right now you have 2 babies to feed. You don't have any money. You're feeding the babies.
Okay.
And just don't worry about them. Now, I do want you to get around to getting them paid because I got a feeling he's going to be in jail for a while the way this sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
That tells me it was definitely a felony. Okay. She didn't say robbery. She said theft, but I assume robberies with a weapon, but depending upon how much.
So, but we've got to, first things first are you and the babies. You take care of you and the babies first. Now, we're settled, okay? Next step is, what are we going to do to make some more money? And what is our career path to where when you're 42, you're making $118,000 instead of $18,000 a year?